Ravona was once a peaceful alien colony, filled with blue forests, shining rivers, and tall crystal towers. But now, smoke covered the sky like a heavy blanket. The ground shook every few minutes as enemy machines marched closer. What was once a home had turned into a battlefield. The Ravonian people were tired, wounded, and afraid. For 3 long days, they had sent distress signals to the Human Federation, begging for help. But space was wide, and hope was thin. No message came back. No ships appeared. Many believed that humanity was too far away to hear them. Inside a broken shelter, families whispered to each other. Some said, maybe humans cannot reach us. Others said, maybe they don't care. Fear spread like a cold wind. Only one person refused to give up: Lyra, a young Ravonian girl with bright silver eyes. Every evening, she climbed the ruins of an old watchtower. She would stand there, alone, staring at the empty sky. She believed the humans would come. She had seen their kindness before, but tonight, even Lyra felt the weight of silence. In the distance, enemy war machines rolled forward, their metal bodies glowing red. Their commander, a tall mechanical creature, broadcast a message across the colony. Ravona 4 will fall. Humanity cannot save you. Surrender now. The message echoed through every street. People closed their eyes in despair. The Ravonian soldiers tried to hold the final defense line, but their weapons were too weak. Buildings fell. Fires spread. Every minute, the colony crumbled more. Lyra stood on the tower as cold wind pushed against her face. She whispered into the darkness, "Humans always come. They always keep their promise." But the sky remained quiet. For now, night fell over Ravona, but it brought no peace. The fires from destroyed buildings lit the sky with an orange glow. Ravonian soldiers gathered at the last defense wall, knowing they could not hold much longer. The enemy army stood only a few kilometers away, preparing for their final strike. Inside the watchtower ruins, Lyra sat on a broken stone, staring at the stars. Her silver eyes were filled with both hope and fear. She whispered, "Please, humans, hear us." A deep silence covered the land. No wind, no movement. Even the flames seemed to quiet themselves. Then suddenly, the stars flickered at first. It looked like a trick of the eyes, but then the entire sky pulsed, as if something enormous was pushing through space itself. The air thickened. A low humming vibration spread across the colony, shaking loose dust from every wall. Ravonians looked up. Soldiers paused mid-step. Even the enemy machines froze. A single bright crack of light split across the night sky like lightning. But slower, heavier, more powerful. The clouds tore apart in a perfect circle. Something was coming through. The humming grew louder. Deeper, like the growl of a giant metal beast. Light burst outward, forcing everyone to shield their eyes. When the light faded, the shape of a massive ship appeared above the clouds. A human battleship, the TSS Horizon. Its dark metal hull stretched across the sky like a floating mountain. Blue engine light poured from its rear thrusters. Powerful cannons and shield arrays glowed along its sides. Its presence alone made the ground tremble. The Ravonians gasped. The enemy commander shouted, "Impossible! Humans should not be here." A human voice echoed through every speaker across the colony. Ravona 4, stand firm. Humanity has arrived. Hope exploded through the crowd. The real battle was about to begin. The moment the TSS Horizon appeared, the entire battlefield changed. Ravonians who were ready to surrender now felt fire returning to their hearts. Soldiers stood straighter. Civilians cried with relief. For the first time in days, hope felt real. But the enemy saw something else. They saw fear. Their commander, the cold mechanical being known as Vor, stared at the massive human ship with glowing red eyes. "This is not possible," he growled. "Humans do not have forces in this sector. Destroy that ship before it fully powers up." Enemy cannons aimed toward the sky. Dozens of red laser beams fired at the horizon, but they simply vanished against its shimmering blue shields. Not even a scratch appeared. Inside the battleship, human officers moved with calm precision. "Target enemy artillery," the captain ordered, Locked, replied the weapons. Officer, fire! A blinding beam of white-blue light shot from the horizon's forward cannon. It wasn't aimed to kill, it passed directly over the enemy army and struck the mountains behind them. The explosion was so massive it lit the night like a second sun. Shockwave swept across the battlefield, knocking enemy mechs off their feet and throwing dust into the air. The message was clear. Humans were not here to talk. They were here to win. The Ravonians stared in awe. They had never seen such power. Down on the ground, enemy soldiers scrambled, panicked voices filling their communication lines. Retreat! Retreat! The humans have returned. But the horizon was not finished. Small human dropships began launching from its lower hangars, streaking toward the surface like fiery comets. Inside them, armored human troops prepared for combat. Ravonian children pointed at the sky with amazement. Lyra felt her heart racing. Humanity had not only come, they had come with thunder. And the first strike was only the beginning. The human dropships cut through the smoke-filled sky like blazing arrows. Their engines roared as they descended toward the battlefield, leaving bright trails behind them. Every Ravonian stopped to watch, eyes wide with disbelief. They had heard stories of human soldiers, but seeing them arrive like this felt unreal. The first dropship slammed onto the ground, dust rising in a huge circle. Its metal ramp opened with a heavy thud. Out marched the human marines, tall, armored, glowing blue visors. They looked like walking tanks. Their armor was scratched from past battles, but their steps were steady and confident. They were ready. Ravonian soldiers stared in awe as the humans moved past them. One marine stopped to help a wounded Ravonian officer stand up. "You're safe now," he said in calm, simple words. The kindness shocked the Ravonians as much as the power of the horizon had. But the enemy was not done. VORAK-7 roared in anger. Deploy the Titan mechs. Crush the humans before they formed their lines. Heavy metal footsteps echoed across the valley as giant enemy machines rose from behind the hills. Each mech was as tall as a tower, armed with cannons and glowing red energy cores. The ground shook with every step they took. Human marines looked up but did not panic. Instead, they lifted their weapons and activated their shields. "Hold the line," shouted their commander. The Titan mechs opened fire. Red bolts exploded across the field. But then another light flared in the sky. The horizon charged a defensive beam and shot it downward. A glowing blue dome formed over the humans and Ravonians, deflecting the deadly blasts. Even with all their machines, the enemy could not break human defenses. Ravonians cheered as the combined forces pushed forward, step by step. But deep in the enemy ranks, something massive began waking up. Behind the enemy army, deep inside a black fortress made of metal and stone, a forbidden machine began to awaken. Its core glowed with a dark, swirling energy and unstable power that even most enemy soldiers feared to touch. Vorak-7 stood before it, rage burning in his red eyes. "Humans dare to return," he growled. "Then they will drown in darkness." He slammed his hand onto the control pad. The machine roared to life. A pulse of black energy burst outward, spreading across the battlefield like a shadowy wave. Human marines felt their armor flicker. Ravonian soldiers gasped as their weapons dimmed. High above, inside the TSS horizon, alarms began to sound. "Captain, enemy device detected. It's draining our systems." The captain's face remained calm but serious. "Maintain shields. If they weaken, this entire colony is lost." But the darkness grew stronger. The horizon's blue shield dome flickered. Only moments ago, it had been bright and powerful. Now cracks of dark lightning ran across its surface. On the ground, Lyra and a small Ravonian squad were helping civilians escape. When the dark wave passed over them, the ground trembled. The air turned cold, sharp, and heavy. What is happening?" Lyra whispered. A human soldier beside her checked his scanner. His voice was tense. "It's a void device. Very dangerous. If it reaches full power, everything here will be destroyed." Up on a hill, Vorak-7 raised his arms proudly as the sky darkened. Humanity cannot stop this. Your hope ends now. But Lyra wasn't ready to give up. She saw something, the dark machine's control tower. It had a small access panel on the side, glowing faintly. Maybe, just maybe, it could be shut down. She looked at the human soldier. Help me reach that tower. I can stop it, he nodded. Then we move now. Together, they ran toward the heart of the darkness. Lyra and the human soldier, Sergeant Cole, rushed through the shaking battlefield as the dark energy spread across the land. The ground cracked behind them. Enemy drones screamed overhead. Every second, the void device grew stronger. The sky no longer looked like a sky. It looked like a spinning storm of black clouds, swallowing the stars one by one. Sergeant Cole blasted open a pathway with his rifle. Keep moving, he shouted. Lyra nodded and sprinted, her heart pounding. She could feel the dark energy pulling at her skin, like cold fingers trying to stop her, but she refused to slow down. Ahead of them, the towering enemy device pulsed with deep purple light. Sparks of dark lightning shot into the sky. At its base was the small access panel Lyra had seen earlier. Vorik 7 stood nearby, waiting like a monster guarding treasure. You cannot stop the void, he hissed. It was made to end hope.